How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today would have been Dave Stevens' 70th birthday, so July 29th. So what I thought I would do today is kind of redo one of my original videos that I did back when I started the channel 5 years ago, and I did a spotlight on Dave Stevens. Since then, I've come across a lot more stuff that I didn't have in my original video. So I thought we could go through this and show off some of the stuff that he did in his short but illustrious career. Now, as I said in my original video, there's nobody that made me buy a book that I never bought before other than Dave Stevens. If there was a Dave Stevens cover on a comic, whether I collected it or not, I bought it automatically. So, like I say, unfortunately, he died very young, and he didn't get too much comic work out there. But being the creator of the Rocketeer was one of his big, well-known things. But he also drew pretty girls, and anytime that I could get anything that with his art on it, I would buy it. So what we're going to go through here is all of his cover work that he produced in his time doing comics. I'm not going to include stuff like these IDW books. They just pretty much just repurposed his art. This is pretty much going to be like original cover work that he did in his career. So, because IDW has done a lot of covers with his work on there. So, I'm just going to go through the stuff that I bought when he was actually producing stuff. So right off the bat, I mean, his claim to fame was the Rocketeer, and in Star Slayer #2 is the first appearance of the Rocketeer, and they gave him a nice back cover to promote the story inside. And if you've never read the Rocketeer, I don't know why you're even watching this video. Go back out and pick it up. The bad thing about Dave is that he was kind of slow. So producing his art, because he was a perfectionist. But when he did produce it and he put it out, it was beautiful. So this was the first the world ever got to know him in comic book form, was at the Rocketeer. And this is the first appearance of the Rocketeer, first appearance of Betty, PV, all the characters. So this was the first issue that he did with Rocketeer. Then he was in Star Slayer #3. That was the second part of the Rocketeer saga, and they gave him the back cover for this too. And so it was so popular that they decided to give him his own series. So what they did is they put it out in Pacific Presents. So he gave him his first issue, and this also had Steve Ditko character in there too. So it was like half and half, because he just had half the book. But so this was the first issue of Pacific Presents, and it has a Dave Stevens cover, obviously. Then #2 came out, slowly but surely. The next chapters of the Rocketeer saga. And then what happened is that Pacific Comics, I guess, went out of business. And so then Eclipse Comics took over producing Rocketeer comics. So then they put out a special edition #1 with the Rocketeer. Another nice, beautiful cover. Then Eclipse couldn't do it anymore. So Kamiko came out with the Rocketeer Adventure magazine, which was this one right here, first issue. And they produced this for a couple issues. They did 3 issues of the magazine. That's #1. Here is #2. And then here's the final issue, issue #3. So all of those were the Rocketeer. Then what happened was they produced the Rocketeer movie, and then there was a Rocketeer movie adaptation, and so he did the cover for the Rocketeer movie adaptation, produced by Disney. Another piece of Rocketeer artwork that was produced was the Kamiko Attractions, and they have a nice, beautiful Dave Stevens cover on this. This is just like a 4-page little flyer thing that they put out to promote their upcoming releases, and obviously the Rocketeer was one of them. Then he produced a couple other covers here. We've got Eclipse Comics Airboy #5 with a beautiful Valkyrie cover. This is a very well-known cover if you've never seen it before. It's a real beauty. Fantastic cover there. He also did for Pacific Comics Alien Worlds #2 with his own character there, Aurora. And then Alien Worlds #4 from 1983, another beautiful cover that he did. Then we've got Betty Page Comics from Dark Horse. This is from 81. He did this cover. And I mean, nobody even knew really too much about Betty Page until he put her in the Rocketeer comics, and then she became super popular again. Speaking of Betty Page, we got Betty Page, Queen of the Nile, #1, the Dave Stevens cover. And also #3. He didn't do the cover to #2, so I don't have that in here. Then we have Cheval Noir, issue #1. This is a nice, fantastic cover too that he did. And that one's been repurposed on some foreign magazines and stuff too. So that one, and then he also did issue #7. This is a well-known cowgirl cover, little nudie there. He also did, this is like one of his least thrilling covers, but it's a Dave Stevens Kamiko Christmas special. A lot of people, when they're looking through back issue bins in the dollar bin or stuff, they just flip right past this, but it's a Dave Stevens, believe it or not. He also did this cover of Betty Page for the Movie Star News. Is pretty much just a catalog, but I mean, classic. And I mean, you can really tell his work when you see it. It's just so beautiful, and the line work and everything is just great. He also did the cover to Crossfire #12. This was produced as a poster also. And speaking of, like, yeah, because Eclipse did a bunch of his covers as posters. So this was a poster. This one was produced as a poster, Crossfire and Rainbow. That Valkyrie one I showed you was also a poster. This is a fantastic one that he did. I still have my original poster of this. This is the last issue of DN Agents, #24, with a beautiful rainbow. That's the character's name cover. He did, for DC, he did Elvira's House of Mystery, #11, with a nice, beautiful rendering of Elvira, Queen of the Dark. Did a couple of Johnny Quests for Kamiko when he was there. He did #3 with the main characters there. Classic Dave Stevens. This is another one that people kind of overlook when they're flipping through back issues. They don't really realize that that's a cover that he did. But this one, you can't not know that that's a Dave Stevens cover when he's got Jade on there, and Johnny and Haji and Bandit. Another one that's really sought after that everybody loves is this Jungle Comics from Blackthorn. They didn't last very long, and they got him to do some stuff, and this is one of the ones that he produced for them. Monster Comics put out a King Kong comic, and he did this fantastic cover for that little mini series that Don Simpson did, based on, or doing an adaptation of the original 1930s King Kong. Then he also did, this was also a poster, Eclipse Comics Mr. Monster, #2. Great cover there. This one is from, this is Eclipse also. It's Isaac Asimov's science fiction magazine, Orbit. And then, again, beautiful Dave Stevens cover with a possum, I guess that's what that is, with the eye patch. Another one that's really sought after, that's hard to come by, is from Blackthorn, and this is Planet Comics. He did this cover, and there's been a lot of homages to this cover too. Really hard to come by. the staples kind of rust in these Blackthorn comics. This one doesn't have any rust on the staples, but you got to watch out for that. Another one he did cover-wise was the Shadow and Doc Savage crossed over in Dark Horse. So he did this cover for that miniseries. It's only a two-parter. And then I don't know if he if he did the pencils, but I know he definitely did the inks on this one. So we've got both of those. Fantastic. Here's another one. I like this one better than the Jungle Comics, but he did a 3D Sheena, Queen of the Jungle for Blackthorn, and this is just a fantastic, beautiful cover that people really love to try and find. Also, another 3D comic with a Dave Stevens cover is Space Vixens. Another fantastic, fantastic, fantastic cover. Still on the 3D comics, we've got Eclipse with Seduction of the Innocents, #1 with the Halloween cover. And you see the little head there. He also did this for Eclipse. He's got True Love, #1. And also, for Eclipse, we have Twisted Tales, one-shot. I guess it's a one-shot. Keeping going with the Dave Stevens love, we've got from Pacific Comics, Vanguard Illustrated #2. This is another good one. He did like this, another yellow cover too. He did some pretty sweet stuff here, and we've got World of Wood #1. So again, you know, I'm showing you these. If you've never seen them before, now you have, or if you are out shopping about looking for stuff in the dollar bins, you can kind of look and see what you're looking for here. We have also World of Wood #2. This was, both of these were, I know this one was a poster. I think this one was too. Classic issues here. Then this is another one. This people always overlook this one. He did the Topps Comics Xena Warrior Princess #2 cover for that series. Then we get into some of these, like, I didn't even know these comics existed, and I never knew about them, but then later on I found out about them, and I started hunting them down before anybody even was really too much into Dave Stevens. They had a documentary that came out on Amazon, and then all of a sudden all of his stuff blew up. But I have all of these way before that documentary ever came out, so I was happy to pick these up, and I didn't have to spend an arm and a leg for them. But Neo Santanica Tales. This is I think it's a #1. But this one I had never knew existed until later on, after I had been picking up Dave Stevens stuff. Venus Domina, also #1. I mean, they're adult comics, obviously, with the nudity on there, but and then here's another one, Venus Domina, Candlemas Eve Special Edition. So he's got a couple of those, and then he did this one. This is just a nice portrait picture, the anniversary issue of Santanica. And then there was Verotic Illustrated #2. This is one of the last ones that I picked up that I had to track down. And this is when he just started heating up, was when I finally got this one, just before he blew up. So I was really happy that I didn't have to spend a lot of money for that. Then he did some inking on covers. So he inked this cover for Girl Crazy, issue #1. And like I say, if you know his work, you can tell that he inked, you know, like if he's inked something, you can really tell by looking at it that it was inked by Dave Stevens. Also, he inked Grendel #4. And then this one, the first and only time that Adam Hughes and Dave Stevens worked together was on DV8, and this is one of the variant covers for issue #1. So pick that one up. He also inked this Last of the Viking Heroes #5 over Jack Kirby. So believe it or not, that's Dave Stevens inking over a Jack Kirby pencil. Then we have this one as another one. This is late pickup. This is from Verotic. He did the cover for Black Angel. This is more like a square bound comic. And then he did a couple of covers for Vampirella collections. We got Vampirella, A Scarlet Thirst. This is a beautiful cover right here. And he also did the cover for Vampirella Transcending Time and Space. Then there was, when they were promoting Planet Comics Blackthorn through the cover artwork on the back of some Dick Tracy reprints they were doing. I don't know if they're on any other ones or not, but anyway, I picked up a couple of those too, just because it has his artwork on it. The coloring is off, obviously, but it's the cover work for that comic. Then they put a back issue pinup on the back of Dark Horse Presents number 100 of this Mimi Rodin. Obviously, that's Dave Stevens' work right there. Then he did a back cover for Madman Comics number 4 from Dark Horse. And then, unfortunately, the last thing he ever did that was released was Bad Planet number 6. This is the last cover work that Dave Stevens ever did. So right there, that's all of the like strictly comic covers that he has done. But it doesn't stop there, because he also did artwork for magazines too, comic magazines, books. So I mean, I got some like weirdo stuff that I picked up that he had worked on. Where's the here? We've got they did a couple of sets of these postcards that has Rocketeer artwork on them. This set here has those pictures on the fronts. There was 2 sets of these. I only have the 1 set. I paid $2 for that. But then he did this nice trading card, or not trading card, greeting card, where it's got his artwork on the front, you know, and you open, it says thanks for a wonderful evening. You open it up, and then it folds over into this gorgeous lady, and she says, let's do it again real soon. So this was kind of hard to come by. I knew about it and saw it, and I could never find it. And then one day, lo and behold, one of my saved searches on eBay popped up, and there it was for sale. So I hurried up and snagged it as fast as I could before anybody else could grab it. I also came across these recently. They had, well, I just showed you the covers, but Topps had done some Vampirella oversized trading cards called Master Visions. So they did the cover for the 2 issues that he did. That one and that one. So it's kind of cool to pick those up. I didn't even know they existed either, so it was kind of nice to find those in an auction lot I'd won. Then we have, like, anytime he did an interview in a comic magazine that had, you know, Rocketeer cover on it. So Amazing Heroes 37, he was interviewed, and he did the cover artwork for that magazine. He also did Comics Interview, super special, but this really isn't his artwork, but I have it anyway. Just thought I'd show it and throw it in there. Also, another piece of work that a lot of people don't know that he did was in this Melody comic from Kitchen Sink. It's got a pinup in here of that he drew right here. So if you ever see this and you're into David Stevens, you can pick this one up because it's got his art inside. And then, of course, you know, like other stuff that I have here to show off. I bought every iteration of the Rocketeer when they put it in collected editions. So the first one they ever released was the trade paperback, and it's got all 5 chapters of the Rocketeer in there. And then when he did his New York adventure, I bought that one too, of course. And then they did like a hardcover release, The Complete Adventures. I picked that one up too, you know, classic Dave Stevens Rocketeer art there. Then I have this one too, the oversized complete collection. And then the other stuff, some other stuff that I have is that he did, so, like I said, he had some cover work on different magazines. So this one, they produced this one after he had passed away. This is Sirens of the Cinema, because it's remembering Dave Stevens. So he had already passed then. Then we have Alter Ego number 21 with another Sheena cover. Beautiful there. He also did the cover for Alter Ego number 43 with a Nacho Libre kind of wrestler on the cover there. Also, when he was interviewed for Comic Book Artist magazine, he collaborated on the cover with him and the Hernandez brother. This is another highly sought after Dave Stevens cover, Comics Journal, number 117. Hugely popular cover that people always try to find. Also, I ended up, when they had a exhibit of Dave Stevens art recently, they had a tribute book, and I ended up picking up the tribute book with, again, it's repurposed art that he had already done. Then we have some other, like he did some cult movie covers. So I don't know, I think he just kind of colored these. I don't think he did too much with them other than that. Or he might have like cleaned them up a little bit. But we have number 8 that has his signature down there. And number 9, Dave's, the DS down here. So exactly, I'm not really sure what he did, but he's credited with his initials on the cover. Here's another one, number 11, with the Ed Wood cover. And number 15. So again, those are all DSs on them. Then we also have Pure Images magazine, the premiere issue. He did this sweet Phantom of the Opera cover. Back issue magazine, number 47. This is his final interview. Picked this one up. Then I also picked up recently, I got one of his sketchbooks, volume 3. I came across this on eBay too. It's signed by him also, so that's always a plus. Then I also picked up these comic art magazines. We've got, I think this is number 58, which is another repurposed art from a cover. But then this one is not from a cover, but it's from artwork. Well, there she is right there too. So picked those up recently. And then the last but not least, well, second from last. So this is another thing that I picked up that I found out that he worked on. And this was super hard to come by. And then I finally picked one up for a decent price. But it was Pandemonium. This is from Bob Burton, the guy that does the Flaming Carrot. And he did a pencil drawing of this lady. And Dave Stevens said, let me ink it. So he inked it. And then Bob threw it on the cover of his collection of art. So, I mean, that's, again, if you know his art, Dave Stevens artwork, you can really tell that that's his inking over this Bob Burton pencil. And then the last thing I have, and one of the biggest piece, I don't, hopefully it'll fit in the picture, but I have this Glamour International with Betty Page, well, Betty Page or Betty from the Rocketeer. But it's a really nice magazine of good girl art, and I picked that one up not too long ago. Also, I knew it existed, was trying to find it forever, and then I finally came across it and jumped on it, and I'm glad to have it in my collection. So there you go, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Like I said, if there's anybody whose art I appreciated more than Dave Stevens, I can't think of them. I mean, he just did such beautiful work. It's so sad that he had to die so young. Who knows, like, what else he could have produced or how much more Rocketeer we would have been given. It's just, like I said, he was a fantastic, wonderful artist, and the world is really at a loss for him not being with us anymore. That's all I can say. I mean, like I said, I didn't really know him personally, obviously, but he really touched my life and made me enjoy comics a little bit more whenever he was still around. So again, thanks a lot for everybody for watching. And as I mentioned before, today, July 29th, would have been his 70th, 2025 would have been his 70th birthday. So you know, happy birthday, Dave. We miss you, and your work lives on even though you're not here. But again, thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget, if you like the video, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Hopefully I can do more of these spotlights on different artists or different series as opposed to just doing my comic book hauls that I post all the time. But again, I really appreciate everybody watching. Thanks for staying till the end. Feel free to put down any comments that you want to about Dave Stevens. What's the first book you ever saw that he did, or did you know about him before the documentary came out? Let me know in the comments. But other than that, thanks again everybody for watching. I hope again you appreciated and enjoyed the video, and I will catch y'all next time. Bye.